director of Nymph. The Little Mermaid done as a horror. Is that as simple as it gets?
We started making a movie about that island because I like the island a lot and I always wanted to make a movie there. So when I heard this story from a friend of mine that he had about a mermaid trapped below that island, I was like, yeah, let's do that. It was, I think, just an accident that it was a mermaid because there is no mermaid stories in Serbia. I mean, Serbia is not even on the sea, you know. So when you film on the sea, you cannot predict anything, you know. One day, our boat got on fire. You know, we were coming back from the island, and then the smoke came out of the engine, and I was like, just hold the tapes. So I was like, you know, save the tapes.
So that particular island, the prison island, there,
yeah,
is it a famous sort of location?
It looks very filmic, you know. It's very exotic location, and it's totally unused. One older movie called Mamula Camp. That's like 2 movies with that island. I even wanted to use the footage from that movie like a flashback of the island, you know.
How did you get Franco Nero involved? He doesn't do that much these days.
I heard that Franco Nero is going to be at Grossman Film and Wine Festival, and I was there in the jury of a Méliès competition, and I told writers, write this character for Franco Nero. He was like, I don't do cameos, I did one in Croatia, it was terrible, I don't like it, doing it, and so on, but here's my phone number, call me. I was like, okay, so I call him, he says, hey Milan, okay, so not that I don't like it, but I have some ideas. He practically changed the entire character, but it was much better this way. I liked it much more. It was really my honor and my great experience to work with him.
Truth or Dare is my directorial debut, and it focuses around a group of friends who get internet fame by playing Truth or Dare games, and everything goes horribly awry when their number one fan decides he wants to join them.
Doing film, it's such a collaborative medium. So working with people that you enjoy in your day-to-day life anyway is always fantastic. So it was great.
We were actually in a moment of a very intense scene, and my AD, the assistant director, started yelling out in the middle of the scene, "No, no, no, no!" And we all like stopped and we're like, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And he's like, no, it was just me as a person. Carry on, fine, continue, I'm sorry. And braced himself, and we went back to filming. But seeing a 20-plus year veteran who'd been doing this, so bothered by what we were filming that he stopped the scene, was awesome.
It was just so much blood. There was so much blood everywhere. And our effects team, was amazing. So it was a lot of fun to be able to do all that stuff, like practical effects.
There's a romantic scene with Deputy Pin in a bottle, and after that scene, he does something and he moves to go vomit, and he vomited in frame, and we had a safe word. And I was expecting him, when I realized he was vomiting, that he would call the safe word, and he didn't. So we just kept it in and kept rolling, and we kept filming, and he was a consummate professional. Went back to the scene like nothing. And to be fair, he said his character would vomit in that moment.
Truth or dare?
Dare.
Can you give us a classic Hollywood scream queen scream, please?
Okay, brace yourself.
It comes out of the comic book genre of weird westerns. So other comic books that have been weird western comic books that have been turned into films would be The Wild Wild West with Will Smith, and also Cowboys vs. Aliens with Daniel Craig. So there is a tradition going back, a comic book tradition going back into the 1930s. So it has been out there, and you'll find werewolf westerns out there, vampire westerns out there in graphic novel comic book terms. As far as a werewolf western in this country goes, I think the first western per se since Carry On Cowboy, 1966.
Let's talk a little bit about your second film, Extraterrestrial, which is also playing here.
I feel like a Japanese filmmaker with 3 movies.
And VHS Viral.
My segment in VHS Viral, which is a series I really love, which is a franchise I really feel proud to be part of. My story is dealing with some of my favorite topics in fiction. I mean, parallel universes, Satanism, and kinky sex. Yeah.
Extraterrestrial is most definitely a comedy where there's a spaceship hovering above Madrid, but nobody knows exactly what's going on. What gave you that idea?
I'm part of this generation where we are watching massive, horrible things happening on television, and in 5 seconds we are making jokes on the internet. So yes, probably September 11 is my influence in this movie. What I like the most is talking through the camera, and I think the camera in that movie is my best so far.
What would happen if a
a hunter who was a little bit on the edge of craziness and thought that catching a serial killer would be the most dangerous game. What if he was one to have found the dumping ground? What if he decided to stake it out and try and film it? But then I realized that nobody would be stupid enough to go out and do that. So we looked at how they would get out there, and that's when I realized that I was going to finally get to make a movie out of the legend of the Beast of Exmoor.
I just got invited to audition by Luke back in Belfast, and I know they did LA auditions and London auditions, but obviously it's being filmed in Northern Ireland, so they want to get a bit of Northern Irish talent.
We shot the film on Exmoor. What are you talking? No.
At one point I was rolling on the floor, he was like walking around with the camera. It wasn't sort of stand there, deliver this, look that way, look this way. It was just really, it got a bit wild in a way, but which is perfect because that's the whole point of Exmoor. It is wild.
I had this in my mind when I created the movie, being able to come here and bring it to FrightFest. I came here a few years ago to see a few films. I was blown away by the reception that a movie named The Dead received, and I just stepped out of that and I was like, wow, I need to get some of that buzz for myself.
They're the biggest critics we'll have because they know the genre so well, and they're, in my opinion, the best people to show it to, and that's why, yeah, absolutely honoured to be here. It's great.
When we were developing the movie, we spent a lot of time thinking about what would a FrightFest audience think of this? And my development producer was very strict on me. She was like, people will laugh at that, and that's a point in the movie, you don't want people to laugh. And she was like, you just got to do more ambitious kills.
Director of Alleluia, Fabrice Duels. A lot of your films seem to have a prevalent theme of madness and obsession that comes with love, extreme love.
I was looking for a good subject, and I thought, well, mad love or blind love could be a good subject for the actors, for the tension, for the madness. And when you explore that in a very wild way on screen, it's explosive.
You have a very singular technique, because when he say action, he's here.
It was a real partnership between Dan and me, because during the shooting, I'm really in the center of the scene. I'm not the kind of director who waits, and look and say, okay, cut. No,
No, you have to do it like this. No, okay, come back. No, you do like, and he's always next to you, and you feel sometimes like a little puppet.
It's just like a war zone for me, I have to be in the middle and to fight with the actors.
It's obvious why the story is so attractive. It's a fascinating tale. These two people who met and then became these killers and con artists.
The Honeymoon Killers is so universal story. Mm-hmm. That's why, and it fascinates the French surrealists, for example, in the 50s, because that story is insane.
Yeah.
And also, what's great about that story is the fact there is no morality banners. They never judge bad or good. They're just playing with the fire. And that's very, very appealing to me. Alleluia is the second part of a small trilogy. Mm-hmm. Calvaire was the first part. The last part, I think, would be quite fun. Mm-hmm. It's going to be terrible and funny.
Mr. Jörg Garat, thank you very much for joining us. I got your name right this time, didn't I? Yeah.
Kind of.
Thank you very much for being here at FrightFest and coming along to support our impending Blu-ray release of Necromantic.
It was the first high-definition screening, so it went too smoothly. It was important that it looks beautiful, because if you go to a movie about necrophilia, you expect it to be disgusting. But to think further, to present it in a nice way, I think that was the trick that really disturbed the people.
Do you think that it benefits from being high def?
More satisfying than presenting the film on film, because when we presented it at the Scala in 1988, it was blurry, not very bright picture. They saw with kind of unreadable subtitles.
Yeah.
But nobody really seems to complain about that, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
Reviews of Necromantic from the US speculated on the fact that I used real corpses. And this only works, I think, when you really can't see what's going on the picture.
Yeah.
So maybe on this Blu-ray it's going to not work at all.
You had some quite mixed feedback, I think, from that original screening. Phil Wilding from Kerrang went as far to suggest of the director, we might get lucky, he could get hit by a car.
Yeah, I remember that. But Kerrang is a metal magazine, right?
Yes, yeah.
Maybe it was too arty for Kerrang.
we showed 64 movies over 5 screens over 5 days. It's a pleasure and a privilege to screen so many movies.
I think every year I'm going to be so tired and I'm not going to be able to get through the whole weekend, but with you guys, somehow you uplift the whole building and the feeling that it's just fun, and it's great, so thank you.
There's nothing more to say, but carry on and see you next year, and at Halloween, I hope, and in Glasgow, so see you then. Thank you.